college, NGOs, corporates.
Sorry about that. They
Uh,
wanted me to record.
yeah, yeah. Again, in school, colleges, corporate NGOs, and apartment communities, and as many communities as possible, the singing community, the dancing community, the cricket community, the clubs, various clubs. Uh, so we do a lot of beach cleanups during this particular season. Third is we do sand sculpting contest. Uh, Fourth is one of the largest sand sculpting contests happening in India itself, so involving engaging people of different profiles, different age groups. Before the COVID, we used to do a small little run, awareness run called the Ridley Run. But after COVID, we have not revived back again because most of the corporate companies and have gone into hybrid model or work from home model. So they've still not revived back to work from the office space. So we have not started back then. We also do art contest wherein the art sheets are given to the school children and children paint and then give back the art sheets to us. Yeah, these are some of the things we do during the mother coming and laying the eggs and the logical conclusion, which is the baby turtle farewell ceremony. So this is as regards to the Save a Turtle program. And with the community, what we do is uh, Chennai had, I don't know whether you got to know about Chennai in your part of the world, in your part of the country. We had in 2015, 2016, we had one of the biggest floods. Chennai
Oh,
is a metropolitan city, and it's one of the top. It's called the Detroit of Asia. The almost all the automobile industries over here. It's extremely growing, fast growing metro and the automobile industry zone. So we had one of the biggest um, floods. Almost like 45% to 50% of Chennai was drowned. We had like some areas we had like 15 feet and 20 feet of water. In some areas we had like 4 feet to 6 feet of water. So that's when I realized that climate action is for real, and it's no point grumbling, complaining, bitching, blaming the government and the organizations. It's for us to take action. So that's when we got to uh, create our own forests, and we started off in 2018 September, and as of today we have covered 1,000 acres with 1.1 million trees. As I talk this month, in the month of December, we completed 75,000 trees. And in January, we'll be doing another 75,000 trees as well. Yeah. So wherever we plant, we maintain and manage them. And we create different forests. In schools, we create fruit forests. In apartment and residential areas, we create butterfly parks. In abundant lands, we're trying to create biodiversity parks to bring back the lost biodiversity, which was existing and thriving. And in industrial zones and high pollution areas, we're trying to create oxygen detox zones, intense shrub forestation, so that people can come and utilize these social spaces and enjoy the whole experience and get connected over there.
yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
That's
Um,
great.
So
Thank
I will
you.
just
Thanks, Ashish.
yeah, I can just share you a glimpse of the PPT which we made for the last International Coastal Cleanup Day. Shall I take 2 minutes and share that?
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Akriti, can you please share?
oh, yeah.
Um,
Here, let
I
me.
think
Yes,
you might.
just give me 1 second.
There you go.
Okay.
So it's about, one of the biggest differentiator here is we try to involve uh, as many uh, people as possible of different profiles. Yeah. Let's go to the next sheet, Akriti. I had to make a presentation a few days ago, so the same thing I'm just sharing with you. Yes, Akriti, next sheet.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, this is a micro mini brief about community trees into creating urban forests, and Save a Turtle is into talking about marine life. So here the campaign is about our beaches, our responsibility, and it is about me and I who has to take action, and it's not about others. So what am I going to do about that? So that's what it says. Namma beaches, namma responsibility means my beach and my responsibility. So yeah, that's the tagline which we created, and that's how we have been uh, promoting or involving and trying to bring in people into this particular movement.
Okay, great. The artwork's very cool as well.
Yeah, so some of the partners which are associated, one is the Greater Chennai Corporation, which is the municipality. Second is the traffic police. Third is the coastal guards. Fourth is the forest department. So here, the turtles come under the forest department. So therefore, they are also involved. And then in the last 1.5 years, there is a new department start off in the government itself called Environment and Climate Change. It's really wonderful. So they are looking at associating with various people who are working on climate change and see what we can do, how we can collaborate and things like that. So earlier it was just the pollution board. Now Environment and Climate Change is a separate department. And Ministry of Sciences and the National Institute of Ocean Technology.
Okay.
So these are the partners. So the whole idea is to earlier these ministries were not involved. They weren't even bothered. Now at least they just come to showcase themselves. They just present. So though in terms of monetary support or in terms of crowd or in terms of gathering, though they don't get involved, at least they lend their logos, and so therefore it adds on credibility to the whole project itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's really important when looking at getting sponsors in.
Correct. Yes. So anyway, having so many government bodies along this is it. Yes, Akriti. So this is the partners of government. So partners for safety, what we do is we have every 500 meters, every 750 meters, we have a fishing hamlets over here. So we involve them. These fishermen, by default, the DNA is there in them that they swim so beautifully in the oceans and the seas. So we have them as the safety team. Second is the Indian Red Cross, Youth Red Cross for the first responders, National Cadet Corps, the NCC, and we have ambulances for the safety. This year, we had more than 14,000 volunteers coming on that particular day for International Coastal Cleanup Day. Yeah. Yes, Sakriti, next sheet. So these are partners for safety. So for partners for waste management, certain areas are not in a municipality or corporation. So there are panchayats, which is like small little villages handled by the respective village officers. And then Bottles for Change is this year a movement by Bisleri. So they're picking up all the plastic bottles and giving to recycling units and then giving the COR, that is certificate of recycle. So we are attached with them. It's a new initiative by Bisleri. And Urbeza Sumit is the local waste management team over there. So these for waste management, different zones, different people are associated. Yes, Akriti. So for partnering, for beach cleaning, schools and colleges, corporates and business houses, NGOs and various associations, and communities, we involve the apartment communities, we invite singers, we invite yoga, centers, we invite the clowns, we invite the volleyball players, sculptors, gymnasts, and cricket. You name it, we want to be everyone to be there. We want volunteering to be fun and galata and mischief and noise and happy. It has to be more festive. It's like celebration of cleaning, celebration of cleaning up our own places. So that's how we look
really
volunteering. That's how we look volunteering as. Yeah. So this is the stretch which we do it in Chennai. It has 48 beach locations, and it is almost 22 kilometers. Yeah. So this year we had 14,000 volunteers. Last year we had around 12,000 plus volunteers. We had 14,000 volunteers. So year after year we are increasing. So we have a pledge. So this time we had 117 pledges taken on that particular day. It talks about simple things like, when I order food, I will ask them not to send me plastic cutlery. When I go to shops, I'll carry my own bags. I will try to various things like that. Yeah. So we collected 168 tons in 2 hours of time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Oh my God, that's like so much of trash. So
yeah.
it should be a state that there should not be trash at all, right?
Yeah. That's the aim, right? To get to that point.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, so it's 17,500 volunteering hours in that particular day. So 13,20,000 trash pieces were collected. Pieces meaning it could be a cap, it could be a nib, it could be one bag, it could be a shoe, it could be a thermocol piece. So all this piece put together is 13,20,000, which the government laborers or sanitary laborers may not be able to pick it up because machine does not go there. So this is near the beaches or near the hamlets within the boats and all those things where it keeps lying there. So when we do a calculation, we have done 2,188 labor days worth of work in 2 hours time with so many volunteers. Which equals to
Hi, Hafiz, can you hear us?
Which equals to 91. Yeah, are you able to hear me? Which
yes,
equals to 91 sanitation workers for a month. So for 91 sanitation labors are required for 1 month. So we have saved 11,000, 40,000 rupees for the government by bringing in 14,000 volunteers in 2 hours of time. So this is how we have been calculating the impacts. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, in that region.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Sorry, were there any other slides, Akriti?
Anything else, Akriti? Can you be a little bit faster, please? Yeah. So we asked people to dress up and come. Can you go before the slide? So we ask people to come and dress up and come in different colors, themes, like animals, as octopus, sharks, and this, that, and also come in uniform so that they have a sense of identity, belonging, and easy recognition in such a large gathering. And we form a human chain and create slogans and placards, and people are shouting and singing. So it's such a delight to watch them and see them, and everyone gets excited and motivated.
So it's sort of turned into a bit of a festival.
Correct, exactly. We bring clowns, we bring
I hope no one is
people.
scared of clowns.
No, they are happy clowns.
They're happy clowns. They're not
Right?
scary clowns. Okay, good.
No. They're very mischievous, and then they keep saying, "Hey, look at that person has picked up so much of kg. How much have you picked up? Show them." They make it into a competitive spirit and collecting the trash.
That's
So
good.
they are. So at that point of time, we also do. So here, one of the teams have done heal the planet. So they've done the sun sculpting over here. Yeah. And we also invite singers to come and sing songs, go to small groups and sing songs for them. Yeah. And then we also have other people coming in. We have, for example, the left extreme, one of the persons dressed up like a trash man. If we leave it up like that, we will get drowned in trash. We have the gymnasts, and we have the yoga people to come and call the public people and then ask them to do it. Yeah. So here, one of the biggest differentiator is for each 48 locations. So each location, when we call a group or when we call a unit, we empower them to, take responsibility for that particular area. We ask them to bring a chief guest. It could be an IAS officer or IPS officer, or it could be a cricketer or a football player, so that he can add value and can create some little bit of momentum and excitement to the place. We ask them to take responsibility for the counting and the kind of quality of the trash they pick up, the numbers, and we have this scorecard sheet. We ask each individual to make small little videos and post it on Instagram and YouTube. We asked each individual to make posters, and propagate and talk about it. So therefore, their friends, their family members can inspire. Instead of we taking all the responsibility, we disintegrate and empower smaller units to take that. So they also feel good. Okay, it's not our program and our logo everywhere. It's also their program and their logos running all over the city. Right. So this was just a small little glimpse of one of the projects which you do. So we have quite a few projects, and
that's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing, Hafiz.
Yes.
Robert, I'm sure you already have some ideas of how we can be sharing this info within the metaverse to be able to showcase the work that's happening there, because I think it's incredibly inspiring. I know if some of the schools here, Hugo, watched, if we put together a little video about that and even had, the trash man avatars and stuff like that, they'd be inspired to do more here. And there's also so much that we can do in terms of helping to collaborate so that we twin schools and communities here and overseas with communities there.
Right.
Not just in terms of being activists and, taking ownership and taking action, but also in more developed countries where communities support to fundraise for places where it's less, it's more difficult to be able to access funding for these sorts of things. But I think there's so much. And also, I mean, this is a separate conversation for us, Hafiz, at some point, but looking at plastic and carbon credits and actually fundraising through that. But I know Robert will also have ideas around sponsoring trees and that sort of thing in the metaverse space to be able to fund some of the tree planting activity. But anyway, so thank you so much for that. We can go around and mean, Hugo, I'd given Hafiz an overview of Think Ocean previously, and we can get on another call separately as well. But I
Okay.
think for now, Robert, if you're happy to run through the platform, because I was talking to Hafiz as well, both about Impactoverse and how we could use impact tokens to fundraise, but also about the metaverse in terms of metaverse of impact, in terms of being able to really get awareness raised around amazing projects like these, which are happening in different parts of the world. And not just to get the awareness, but also to be able to provide avenues for collaborations, to scale projects globally, and to fundraise for projects. So, Robert, I'll pass it back over to you.
Yeah, thank you for
Has
highlighting that.
Robert? Hi, Robert. Did you
Yes,
get to
sir.
see our video transformation videos, Robert?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
So just to talk to that presentation that you gave us, and thank you for sharing that. I look at that we could actually bring in the whole, make it a global movement, and everybody gets to experience it, right? Because, you know, the presentation, imagine taking that presentation and turning it into an experience that, you know, all ages can, you know, go there and experience it and know what's going on in that part of the world and where it needs to affect the whole world, right? So I was just going to say this, Nolene, with me recording and doing all this, it's really hard. I don't have enough bandwidth to share my screen. So I would ask Rob, would you mind bringing us into Spatial just so that they can see some of the experiences that we put together for ocean life and everything like that? And then we can just kind of like talk of ideas and
Sure,
stuff.
no problem.
But most important is having that virtual experience. Like, I mean, we saw those clowns there, you know, being on the beach right there. I mean, we could emulate that, and someone could pick up an avatar and do exactly that from a digital space, right? So, what I can say, and why we're having this conversation, I think now is that you know, the internet's changed, uh, the accessibility to the metaverse. I don't know if people get thrown off by the word metaverse, but you know, that's what I call it. Some people call it immersive experiences. But what we do is we actually take your thoughts and the actions that you want to implement, and we put that into a space that all ages can experience. So giving that virtual presence. So Hafiz, is that how you say it? I don't want to misspell it. But we could we could get you in an avatar, connecting with sponsors, connecting with you know, people that want to donate, people that want to get involved with what you're doing from all around the world, and we can make it fun for the kids too, so the kids keep, you know, sharing that message. But literally, I mean, you're talking about remote working. You're talking about, you know, actually physically being at the space, cleaning up. Now, this is another thing that we can look at is like, how do we get more numbers to actually physically be there in real life with you? We could do events that say, hey, this is coming up 6 months from now. Everybody's going to get together and get on the beach and do this, right? So we can actually find contributors, pre-book them, to get them where they need to be, to really make the event bigger and bigger, right? I mean, I can already see that it's growing right now, and you've done a fantastic job at getting those numbers. We also can have the kids, and you know what Nolene's doing with NFTs and stuff like that. We can create things inside the space to allow the kids to not just monetize their artwork, but we can also make it impactful where those could be contributions. You know, a portion of the proceeds could be going somewhere else where it's needed. So, Rob, I don't know if you're able to pull up what you got on your side. I think I set it where you can share your screen there. And if I can kind of like guide everybody through it, but if you want to narrate over it, you can do as well, good sir.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks very much. I will try and share this screen with you. and see how we go.
Rob, are you in Australia?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's interesting with us coordinating timelines all across.
We are.
Yes, it's currently
What's
1:30
the
a.m.
time
here.
now?
Oh my
That'd be late.
goodness.
Yeah.
1:30 in the morning. Okay, next time we'll have it a little bit earlier.
That's all right. Let me see what
Thank you. I
Um,
hope you're a night owl and this hasn't infringed on your sleep time too much.
well, you know, I'm in Web3, so I don't know that we ever sleep in Web3.
You never sleep.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it. But let me share this with you. Let me know if you can see it.
That we can.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind, Rob,
Okay,
go ahead and
great.
post the link inside the chat so other people can just join as a guest.
Yeah, I just it
I'm
just kicked
having
me
the
out for some reason.
yeah, I'm
Hang on
having
a
the
sec.
same issue. So it could be that their servers
Yeah.
are updating right now.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye on the chat box down there. If it doesn't connect up,
Okay.
we'll just have to
Just
talk to it
to
rather than show through right now.
Yeah.
But so this is this is the hub. This is like the like a university hub. It's like a major center, if you will, that becomes the center of what your experiences are. So you'll have multiple different experiences depending on what you're educating people on and what you want to display or how you want to bring people together. And this is the hub where you can access those from, as well as be a central place to bring people together for meetings, presentations, you know, in a boardroom setting, or to set up a range of displays in and around the hub that people can go and have a look at, which talk to the concept that you're promoting, whether it be turtle rescues, beach cleanups, and many other things as well. And those can be tailored on an event basis, as well as a perpetual. You can leave some of them up perpetually as well. And the purpose of this is to be, you know, a dynamic environment as well, where you want people to be coming here on a regular basis and seeing what's going on, or having their gatherings, or coming together and talking about a common interest, it's having issues. Sorry. This is
sorry,
a spatial server issue.
Yeah, just a quick one. Robert, might it be worth us just sharing, you know, running through that video that you recorded when you went through the space with Karina and I? Because that kind of showcases a few of the spaces, doesn't it?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find that. I can either post in the chat, or if you want me to play it live here. I think we're just having bandwidth issues because we're recording.
Yeah.
So let me.
And if you want to stop recording, that's
Okay.
fine as well.
Let me try a different one of the environments that we've got for you as well. So I'll take you to the amphitheater and see if we can showcase that one a bit as well. So as I mentioned, the hub is the place which can link all these ones together, but then you can utilize some of these other ones to be specific to a given event. So this one has both a token collection gamification, which can be tailored to be something different, but it's at the moment it's a coin. We're having connection issues here too. See, it's still connected to chat, so it'll be the same thing. The servers are probably having a bit of a refresh, but I'll see if I can get in a little bit to show you a little bit before it kicks me out again. So in here, and I was just thinking a bit about what you were talking about before with the beach cleanups and what Robert was referring to around how you could spread this out into a more global community effort, is that you could actually organize events where everybody was, you know, from different locations around the world were going out and doing these beach cleanups, but somebody was videoing it as well. And then what you could do is collect those videos and then have an event which was a celebration of their results and a celebration of the targets and the amount of rubbish collected and all of that, and actually have booths set up like you see in this hall where they actually display photos and video of their particular beach cleanup. So people can all come together from around the world and actually come and see what everyone else has been achieving and actually celebrate everyone's achievements together. So, and these can be quite dynamic. It's like kick me out again. And in addition to that dynamicism of that event, you can actually have representatives from each of those locations at their respective booths talking to people in, small conversation groups, because the audio is spatial as well. So, the conversations can be separate and not overlap, and they can share more information around what they're doing, and what they've achieved. So, I suppose it's a far more dynamic presentation style. It's far more conversational, and it can even become a little bit competitive as well. You can do awards based on people's results and in different areas. So that's that particular thing, and that there's an auditorium or an amphitheater, if you will, in that same environment where you can actually have presentations, do the award ceremonies, use the big screen to display stuff, etc. So there's plenty of options there as well. And then there's other game environments, which I think Robert's already shown you through, ones that we've actually built at the moment, where the students can actually go and have a bit of fun as well. Some of the best learning experiences are where they're actually having fun and enjoying themselves at the same time. So you can start to do things like that. You can utilize those game environments. We can design new game environments, based on your needs, for what you want to get across or what you want them to actually learn, and we can make it gamified. There are a few limitations to spatial, but not a lot. The coding is still quite good, and we're able to do quite a lot with it. So there's all those available as well. So yeah.
The other, just to add what you're saying, Rob, and what I think is really exciting is the development of the metaverse, right? I mean, it's still 1% of the whole world of the people using the internet right now. And I just think, I mean, from when the internet first kicked off back in 1969, it's not going to take from 1969 to 2024 to develop the metaverse. It's going to happen very fast. And what we want to do is make sure kids have an opportunity to get involved with causes like what we're doing here, as well as have opportunities to actually create careers and create income for themselves even, right? Because right now they're the consumers. They're consuming this content, and it's probably mom and dad paying for it, right? When it comes to when they got to be on their feet and out in the real world, they might not understand how to do the real world, and it's going to take a lot of nurturing to get them on their feet. So I'm also looking at, we could turn this into an education program that I think schools would be excited about. And they're already utilizing, some of this content for teaching inside all the classrooms. It just, how do you put it all together as an economy that exists, and not to where they spend their whole life, in a VR headset or stuck on the game and they got blisters on their thumbs. We need to bring more education fit for purpose content that they can absorb and use it for in real life and have an impact on the world. So I like the thought that we are bringing the causes in, and we could use the cause as the momentum to bring them in to learn something inside the space. I mean, we have all these engines out there that have already developed all the code. They just got to learn how to use the editors, and that's where Rob and myself come in, where we can teach people how to do that. We can also build out fit for purpose worlds that have all the functionality to, articulate, the real work world. I mean, there's a lot of companies now that are now saying, you know what, COVID did kind of stub our toes a little bit, but we got around that. And I'm not using COVID as a crutch. I'm just using it as an example that really spearheaded the metaverse to be more on the map. What I can say is Zuckerberg's not the first one that got into this. This has been around I mean, ever since 1969. It's taken that much time to develop the internet, and we have I think it's like 68% of the whole world using the internet. I think the metaverse is going to have like this hockey stick effect, where it's like snap the fingers and everybody's going to be using it because they understand how to use it, right? So now's the time that we can be as leaders in this and bring in some content and have a purpose in doing this, not just playing games. You know, I look at it as a gathering versus as gaming. But the cool thing is I'd rather have those endorphins moving on the right track versus having them distracting, not be able to communicate with people and have an impact. So I do have the video. I just posted there. I think it's about 15 minutes long. What I did is I recorded the tour that I took Nolene and Karina on, and you can watch it on your own time there. But definitely look at how we're suggesting on the education part, because everything in the classroom we can bring into the metaverse world and do more with it. So the things that we're limited with, you're literally unlimited inside the metaverse to have the imagination come in, and just the kids will take this is where the kids' eyes are. So we
Well,
want to make sure we're giving the right content, and do it for good. So
In fact, one of the person whom I know got a metaverse wedding.
yeah,
there you go.
Well,
I've seen
Yeah.
similar
I
ones.
don't know metaverse. I think it's probably the first wedding in the world or something.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that. Like the parallels exist and have existed for some time. They're just not called metaverse. Like if you look at Minecraft and Roblox, they're virtual worlds that are created. They're effectively the metaverses. It's the same thing. And what they allow people to do is create content within the content, which is what we're doing, and what you guys are going to be doing is creating that content within an environment that tailors that environment to what you need, but it's also going to allow the kids to do the same. So it's going to open them up and let them use their creativity, much like they can do right now in Roblox. It's the same. I mean, my daughters are doing the same thing right now in Roblox. And it's funny you mentioned the wedding. The first effectively metaverse wedding actually happened in the World of Warcraft, which in many respects is another virtual world, and it's been around for quite a long time. So, this is not new to a lot of people, but calling it a metaverse is new to a lot of people.
Yep.
But the concept is not, and you'll find kids take to it like, well, they're already in there, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think I think the metaverse, the idea of the metaverse, throws a lot of us older folk off. But it is just a virtual world, and it has been happening for a while.
So what are you suggesting now, Nolene?
Yeah, so what I'm thinking, because unfortunately we couldn't really go through the some of the environments with
I can
the
play the
server
video.
being
Do you
glitchy.
want me to just play the video and move the
Yeah,
ticker?
or I
so that-
can if you're having bandwidth issues.
Let's see.
But so
No, we will
Hafiz,
have
what
a
I'm
look. We
thinking.
will have a look at it separately in our office.
Okay.
With my
Okay,
team.
no problem. Okay, great. So what I'm thinking, so what our thinking is, and Hugo and I can meet with you separately, because we, obviously as Think Ocean, our focus is targeting plastic pollution, education, awareness, technology, all of those good things. And collaboration, like collaboration's huge for us. Everything that we do, we aim to do in partnership. So our intention is, there are two things. The one is sort of the offline work, how can we work together to be able to support the physical work out there, looking at how we can collaborate to expand the work to other parts of the world, look at whether there's any potential for getting into conversations around the technology that we've got with the EU, and whether there's any space for that in India or parts of India. So progressing those conversations around the actual cleanups, and of course, the turtle protection and rescue. And then the other, on the virtual side, is looking at how do we use, so the space that we're creating, it's not going to be like, well, each individual project has to build out their own thing separately. We're actually looking at creating an ecosystem of impact. So someone comes into the space and they get to find out what's happening in different parts of the world and how it is that they can collaborate and sponsor or learn. So they can go to the educational space and, learn about it, but we make the learning more interesting, or we gamify the learning if it's for kids. Or they can take part in a festival and they can sign up to be a part of that festival. And it might even be that it gets to the point where we have a concert at the end that celebrates the end of the cleanup day, and people buy tickets for that, and it's a virtual concert. But people engage in all of the activities virtually through the day as well. And it can be activities like, picking up virtual litter and they get a token or something. But in some way, how is it that it's raising awareness around what it is that's happening there and in different parts of the world? And also creating that virtual space for people to be able to come to see what you're doing, to collaborate in some way. So we have to brainstorm, what do collaborations look like? If we're looking at in the virtual space, people can come along and, kids, like their parents can basically sponsor an egg, right? Or something. And then when the turtles are released, like basically one of those turtles is, that child who sponsored an egg feels like one of those turtles is one of the turtles that they've saved, even though they've just bought a token on, or their parent has bought a token online. In India, that has actually what has happened. It's supported the saving of a real turtle. And then when the turtles are being released, that could be, filmed and it could be shown in the metaverse. So everyone who's supported from everywhere in the world can come in and join in and actually experience that. But these are all
Okay.
things that we sort of think
Similar
about.
things? Have you done any similar projects?
So we're just building out the metaverse, well, the metaverse of impact now. Robert has worked on quite a lot. He's worked on things with vineyards, for example, where people are, was it sponsored a vine?
Yeah, NFT wine
And,
club.
we'd be doing, yeah, exactly. And, we'd be doing we could do similar things with the trees, for example, where they could
Okay.
sponsor a tree. So
Hmm.
the model exists. It just doesn't exist in an ecosystem, and there isn't a dedicated space for impact, which is what we're looking at creating. And
Okay.
what we want is for this space to be such that if, for example, someone is coming along, so one of the other partners is Anua. If they're coming to check out Anua's, they've got a festival on and they're showcasing youth projects that are happening in Ireland or in other parts of the world. People can come to that activity, but they can also go around the space and find out about the work that you're doing. And for example, a project in Africa where they're building schools out of recycled plastic bottles, or out of actually plastic bottles, and those sorts of things where they have the opportunity to tap into some of these projects and find ways of being able to support them. Because a lot of people want to be able to get involved. They just don't know how, right? And we're saying, okay, let's get more people aware of what's happening and then give them an avenue and a channel to be able to get involved.
Right.
So that's what I'm thinking. We'll obviously have to, have more conversations, and you guys can have a look at the video as well on the virtual side of it. But really it's looking at how do we just exploring opportunities of us being able to work offline. So in that creating a virtual space, which then supports the real life, real world
Right.
activities
So,
too.
so
Because
how
the
does
whole aim is that all virtual activity should be contributing to real world impact. Like
correct?
that's the focus.
So how do we market this, Nolene?
So the intention is mostly really through collaborations. So looking at how is it that we start to collaborate with, for example, schools in developing countries. One of the things that we're doing with Think Ocean is we're piloting an environmental education program with schools here. And this is a way already of getting kids here to become aware of what's happening there.
Right. When you
Anua
say
in Ireland,
here, is it UK?
in the UK. Yes, in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And
when the
then
kids learn there and they sponsor, they'll be sponsoring here.
yeah, so what we would like to do is build campaigns around it. So for example, kids here can create artwork, which they
Right.
then can have sold as impact tokens, and it could be artwork, you know, turtles or whatever, right? It could even be sand sculptures or whatever it
Right.
is.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
when that's sold, then they can support the project there through the sales. So a percentage can come to the projects there. But this can happen both within the sort of metaverse space and also separately just through the impact token marketplace.
Correct.
But the idea of having this within the metaverse space is that people engage a lot more when they can actually experience it, right? And when they get to see it in some way, feel it in some way, you know, see the beach, see the turtle, see the plastic. And when they collect a certain amount of plastic or, you know, like little pop-ups or information boards, which lets them know what exactly the impact of this is on the oceans, on humans, on, you know, life in the sea. So that's very much what it is that we're looking to do. So it's, you know, it is really about us brainstorming and figuring out what can work. And then the other thing that we want to be able to do is to get brands to sponsor. So when you create the space and they can actually see it, a lot of companies are sponsoring based on geography, right? So if they are in a location, then they're sponsoring companies in that location. That changes when it's virtual, because then it's all about eyeballs. It's who's going to be able to see what they're doing wherever. Otherwise, they're more, you know, location specific. A company from India won't necessarily sponsor a community cleanup in the UK, right?
Correct.
And vice versa. But if there's an activity happening virtually and there's collaboration between different spaces, and it's a way of them promoting their brand, and they know that people everywhere are going to be able to see it, then that barrier is knocked down, and it's easier to be able to get sponsorships for projects and activities, irrespective of where they are, right? Because it's sort of global challenges then. So this is one of the things as well that we want to do, where we have brands support with funding the co-creation of spaces within the metaverse, so people can start to experience and find out more about, you know, the work that's happening in different places, but also be able to sponsor real life activity through what it is that's happening in the metaverse space. Yeah, so that's where the thinking is at on both those fronts. And then, of course, outside of that, we can have a conversation about the tree planting and credits and using that as a way of, and also with the plastic collection, we'll have to understand a little bit more about what the process is after collection, but there may be, you know, there may be potential for us to develop these things to the point where you can start issuing plastic credits and carbon credits, and we look at fundraising in that way too. But that's a separate conversation.
Fine. All right.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that's about it for now from me. It was just a bit of an introduction to be able to get an idea of what might be possible in the spaces, and also to get a sense of the work that's being done, so that everyone can think about, you know, opportunities to collaborate. And Hugo, you're probably thinking of it too, but, you know, we've also got links with schools in the US through All It Takes. So there may be potential there as well in terms of being able to market and publicize what it is that we're doing.
Yeah, I think
but yeah, Hugo, sorry,
No,
over to you, because I haven't actually, you haven't had the floor yet. so
no,
to
it's okay.
speak.
No worries. No, it's no problem. No, I'm just thinking, if we have these schools willing to do anything with us, this maybe can be something they are willing to try first for us to see what the kids do or the parents think. Maybe as a pilot, we will be really good, because they are working with us already. So they know what we try to do, they know what track we are. So we have a really good relationship with these 38 schools. It's about 4,000 primary school kids. And if we have even no 38 schools, but few of their schools trying to, we will try this new world, and the kid can try, they give some feedback, what they think it can be better. And then we can release something more, spread around the world. All it takes as well from America, from United States, is doing the same that we're trying to do with kids, but they already doing with adults. So we can cover both sides to see what is the feedback, how they found, because I'm an adult. I don't know much about this kind of worlds. See, I'm not really much of a gamer. But if it's something that interests me, I will find a way how to get immersed in all this different world. So will be, I think, interesting to see what the kids think, what the teacher think, but also what the adult, how they found it. Is something interesting for them, easy to use, or something that they can, get something from it. I think if tackling both sides, kid and adult, would be a really good idea, because the kid will have some ideas. They will come with this and that, and we can do this. All they go imagination for forever. Adult had to be something interesting for them to, they have most of the adults have no much time. So, but if it's something that they can get, for example, planting a tree or saving a turtle, but they can't do that in the office because they are all day working. But if it's something they can go digital in their phones or in the laptop, I think it will be very interesting for every age, really.
Okay. Fine.
I was just
All
gonna
right.
segue off that
yeah.
too, Hugo. Oh, go
Yes.
ahead, Hafiz.
No, go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the biggest challenge with metaverse platforms, and this is just my experience, was the accessibility. Before, you needed to have a really high-end gaming computer in order to get in. And from the 6 years that I've been in this space, that has been the biggest challenge. And until recently, now with WebGL and platforms using the cloud, we're able to stream these games into the cloud to where you can basically get access from any device, right? And that's just recently. So we're kind of like first into this right now on all these ideas and how to launch it and how to, deploy it to the masses. The platform that we're on was actually more used for business. It was more of a virtual reality remote working solution. And as you can see, they moved more into the gaming side because they want to get the attention of the kids as well. But they're already looking at, like, if we're going to deploy this to the kids will want to develop their own games, right? So I think the opportunity, and I think with the schools, it's more talking to the esport, the after school hour esport first, because they'll say, yeah, bring this in. And then once the parents see the value in it and that it can actually be a potential, delivery system for a kid to actually create a career for themselves, they're going to get involved. And in the video, I even mentioned, where classrooms will utilize this on the smart boards, and the parents can join the classroom at any time in their avatar and just see what the schools are teaching even, right? So there's so much that we can do. Where to fine tune it and bring it to the schools, I think it should be in a cause, right? Because schools do want to be aware of what's happening, with our ecosystems and our planet and everything. And they want kids to be aware because it's their future, so I think the cause is really important. So, Haviv, I think what you're doing could really be emulated to where teachers would want to say, hey, let's go on a field trip. And they go to your experience. to show people what is happening around the world, right? And how, you know, we're helping the world.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. Because, well, I remember when I was in primary school, we had school excursions every year, and every year we would go to the sharks board and go and see some shark that had died because it had gotten caught in a net, or, you know, had eaten something that was, well, actually usually could eat quite a lot and nothing would happen to it. But you know, now that's possible virtually. And like you say, Rob, it's, you know, the work that Hafiz is doing could be one of those excursions that schools here in the UK, in the US, around the world actually take kids on. And not just that work, but others as well. So I think it's going to be, I think we're at the right time to be looking at this. And I think between us, with the type of work that we're doing and the intentions that we have, there's some real potential to have this be really impactful and to be able to really scale the work that you're doing and that also that we're doing. So yeah, Hafiz, I mean, I'll let you kind of have a chat with your team, and then perhaps
Yes, we shall
you and your
watch the
team and
video.
Hugo and
Yeah,
I, yeah, and Hugo and I can have another call where we just brainstorm and look at, okay, in terms of, because we're all about action, right? And what's like feasible short term, mid-term, and
mm,
long term, and actually being able to get things off the ground.
right.
So we can then brainstorm and look at, you know, what may or may not be possible. And if there are things that you feel, actually, no, this is just not for us, that's totally fine. But just for
Mm,
us to kind of round up and have that conversation and look at where there may be potential for us and what the next steps would be in terms of, you know, getting things off the ground or getting things moving.
sure. Right. So we'll have a look at that video,
Mm-hmm.
and then we will see, we'll give our comments from our side. So, and
Okay, perfect.
look at a global movement. Right now, it's defined to only Chennai and only 19 kilometers of the beach stretch. Or if you look at the plantations also, tree planting also, it's just limited to one particular number. When
Mm-hmm.
it's scaled up to the global movement, we could be planting 1 lakh trees every month if we have so many number of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's just it. It's just raising awareness. And it's also about, you know, educating people about what's actually happening in different parts of the world and how people are taking action and motivating them to take action. Because, you know,
Right.
in parts of the world where, you know, people have more, you know, really do have time on their hands and could be doing impactful work, they just don't. But I think what you're doing is inspiring, and it could inspire others to kind of, you know,
Yeah.
get
Thank
off
you
the
so
sofa and do something. So yeah, well, we'll leave that with you. Sorry,
Could I
Rob.
just add?
Yes.
Could I just add
Mhm.
one thing for Hafiz?
Sure. Yes.
Just in relation to the turtles, that's a topic that's pretty close to my heart because we were. I took my daughters up to watch the loggerhead turtles lay their eggs on the beach up near Bundaberg, just not far from where we are. And I was just thinking that, like, one of the things that you want to do is raise awareness and obviously get people involved, also raise money for the work that you're doing. You could create a fairly simple game in the metaverse, whereby there are eggs on the beach, and people buy or sponsor the eggs. So basically, you through the token system. You could do it through Impactoverse's token, for example. They could buy an egg, and that's their egg to look after. And then at a certain period of time, the eggs hatch, and there's 3D turtles that then start to crawl down the beach towards the ocean. Now, in front of them is rubbish. So there's rubbish on the beach, strewn across the beach, and that for want of the coding and the mechanics of it, that is in the way of the pathing for the turtles. So they're going to get stuck. They're not going to be able to get to the beach on the pathing that they've got. So it's up to the people to then go and clean up the beach by picking up the rubbish, which then clears the path, allows the turtles to get to the beach. And that can be on a bit of a cycle thing. So it becomes a bit of a gamification, but it becomes almost like a looking after a virtual pet, almost like the Tamagotchis, if you remember those. So, and that's something that they can sponsor, which can then raise money for what you're doing as well. So, if thinking of it along those lines, there's a lot of scope there.
Correct. Interesting.
Absolutely, Rob.
In fact, the beginning of the game could be walking across the seaside, and then we happen to see the mother turtles. It's like a sighting of a tiger or lion in a forest, you know. If you get a sighting of the mother, then you get lucky. And then we see how many eggs the mother lays. It could be between 80 to 160 eggs. And then we pick up in a hatchery. And then out of it, how many hatch out? And then how many we release back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff you could do with it. So I just wanted to raise that as an idea, possibilities. So
Absolutely, Rob. And that's exactly along the lines that Hugo and I were kind of talking through, because we'd wanted to gamify this environmental education, but include real world experiences, right? So what's actually happening with different projects. So actually having people, like, one of the things is kind of the floating garbage patches, and making people aware of that. So the environment could have different parts of it. And then you have the cleanup missions where people are walking along the beach, and the challenges, and then sponsor a turtle where they can virtually do that. And then, personal care and just getting information on, like, throughout the phases of it, actually getting information on the turtles and the life cycle and how many, so all of that, type of information. But also, as part of, obviously this wouldn't be as simple in terms of the gamification, but we were talking about it based on something that Rob had said, as a next level of the game, people could start building the sand sculptures for competitions, which is happening in real life, but they could do it virtually. And that, they kind of enter, buy a token to enter, and people could clean up a certain amount of plastic to help things get to the ocean or get out of the ocean. And, however much plastic they collected, they'd get a bit, a fact about it. But then they'd also be able to earn sort of junior impact tokens or just impact tokens. And that could help them, kind of, I mean, the word that I heard was like pump out their avatar. So where they could get different things. And we could get brands to sponsor that. So, we could get brands who are actually offering to kind of let us use their brands, like football clubs and cricket clubs and all of that, that I don't even know what kids are, what artists kids are into anymore. But there's just so much.
You're in the UK, and there are you could, not only can you have brands sponsor it, but the brands can have a presence in those environments with active marketplaces. So you could get a football club, and I'm not suggesting Tottenham, but you could get Tottenham, but you could get a football club and they could sell their merchandise, such as jerseys and player jerseys and boots and various other things, or even merch, and also experiences with the team, meet the team type things and things like that. So and the team people could actually come in on an avatar and meet them virtually. It's kind of, there's a lot of scope there for a lot of interactivity. Absolutely. And that interactivity is enhanced because it's in that virtual space. So anyway, look, trust me, my mind goes a million miles an hour. So I've already got 50,000
we get
ideas.
it. And that's exactly what we were thinking of, how do we create the space that's immersive? So we have, the educational piece, and obviously the festival or showcasing the work that's being done. But then also, how do we gamify the education so that people learn about the experiences by experiencing it, and also have the opportunity to get other environmental facts while they're doing that too. So yeah, there's just so much, but I think we can have a separate conversation, brainstorm, look at what's feasible as a starting point. And Rob, are you a Spurs fan or just that you know Spurs?
Well, I know most of the English Premier League clubs,
it?
but
Okay.
I'm a football tragic. But it just so happens that Spurs is coached by an Aussie, so I have
Oh
a bit of
yeah,
I have a bit of
yeah.
a connection there, I suppose. He
Posta
used to coach.
Koglu.
Yeah, he used to coach my team, which was Brisbane Roar in Australia. That's how he started, and
Okay.
Wow.
so yeah. Anyway, long story.
All right. Well, great. Okay. So, yep, a lot that we'll be able to just sort of mull over and think through, and then Hafiz, I'll create a group chat with you. You can add in your team as well, and Hugo, and then we can coordinate on a call. And also it can be a chat just for feedback and brainstorming and that sort of thing in between, even outside of our call. So I'll do that.
Sure,
And
we'll
then
have a look at the
thanks.
videos and we'll ask and discuss and converse there.
Perfect.
And we'll be able
Rob,
to share a lot of other things, as Mukesh also has got a lot of other programs and projects which he has done. He will also be sharing
fantastic.
there as well, so that we'll be able to see which connects and which we could implement faster and quickly.
Yeah. And the thing is, Hafiz, we don't have to gamify or have everything as a completely immersive experience.
Correct.
So
Correct.
if you've got a lot of projects in
Mm.
our, like project gallery showcase, or we have like an interactive map and people can click on different projects in different parts of the world, there could be a little video about some of the other projects as well. So we can still start to raise awareness on other things, even if we don't necessarily have the resource to build everything out or have everything be totally
Yes,
immersive,
I
right?
agree.
Yeah.
All right.
So, okay, right. So we will reconnect. Robert, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
And I will speak to you guys again soon. We'll
It's
circle
nice
Yeah.
back.
meeting everybody.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Nice meeting you
Take
all.
care, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you very
You
much.
as well. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye.